Hi, and thank you for tuning in to the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. It is Motivational Monday and 2021.
That's right.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We really hope that you're enjoying the first few days of this brand new year. And if you're like us, you might have set some New Year's resolutions, some goals for the coming year. Awesome. We did too.
That's right. We
were working on our financial goals.
Wrote them out.
Talking about our family goals, our health goals.
And I think it's important to write those out and have an action plan to those goals.
But we want to challenge you, maybe something you've never done before. Write down some spiritual goals.
Yeah.
What might God be calling and asking you to do this year? What are some areas of your relationship with Him that you'd like to see growth in? What are ways that this year you could be closer to God than you were last year? Think about that, pray about that, talk to the Lord about it, write those things down, set a course, stay on course, and watch those goals be met.
Sure.
Now, with that in mind, we are going to be talking this week about new beginnings, and we're going to be talking about Moses today.
That's right.
Moses is an incredible character in the Old Testament.
He is, yeah, and this is where, at this point in his life, he's a shepherd, and he's taking care of the sheep of his father-in-law, Jethro. He's in the mountainside, and he's traveling, and he notices a bush that's on fire, but it's not being consumed.
Wow.
And so he noticed it, and he walked over, and God speaks to him. He says, hey, this is God.
Incredible. Wouldn't it be so awesome?
Yeah. And
to see this unfolding and taking place. Picture it as Pastor reads this portion today.
So he goes to the bush, and this is what God says in verse 5. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. And he's talking about the Israelites because they were enslaved by the Egyptians. And so he's saying, hey, I see it. And he's saying, I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers.
It's awesome to see that God notices us. And whatever pain or struggle you might be in today, God sees you and He already has a plan to rescue you.
And I love this part because picture Him saying this to you. He says, and I am concerned about their suffering. Saying for you,
Amen.
I am concerned about your suffering.
Yeah.
So many times we go through things that we don't understand, but then we understand that, hey, God is concerned for us and He cares about us. So he says this, so I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians and bring them out of the land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey. And then in verse 10, he says this to Moses. So now go, I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt.
I love that.
Yeah.
I picture this happening as it unfolds, as Moses going to that bush and as the Lord begins to speak to him. And I imagine as God was laying out, hey, I see the Israelites. I see your people. They're my people. And I see their suffering. And I imagine Moses being like, yeah. And then he says, and I want to rescue them. I want to bring them out of this slavery into a land flowing with milk and honey. And I picture Moses going, yes, amen.
Do it, God, yeah.
And then God goes, and it's you. Like, you're going to be the one to do it. And I picture Moses going, wait, what? Wait, did I hear you right? And yet, when we read the story, and I encourage, if you haven't read this in Exodus, in the Old Testament, it's an incredible story. We get to see so much of Moses' life. And yet, as we look over the course of his life up until that point, we can see that God was preparing him for this call on his life. He may have not known it, but God had perfectly placed him to be the one to do this.
And this was the new beginning for Moses, going from being a shepherd for 40 years to now being a deliverer, leading the people of Israel out of Egypt.
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing. God had a plan for Moses. God has a plan for you. Have you ever considered that? Go to God and say, God, what do you have for me this next year? And when you go to Him, allow Him to speak to you and listen and obey, follow through. It may be hard, just like this. Can you imagine?
It cost Moses a lot.
It did.
And yet he was obedient and he followed what God had told him to do. And even throughout it, as he was following after God, he continually went to God for encouragement, for direction, for focus, for strength, for passion. So as God begins to speak to you even today, and as He begins to kind of unfold and reveal that plan that He has for you, step out in faith this year. Write those things down. We're praying with you that God would use you to do incredible things for Him. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in today. We hope to see you again tomorrow for another daily dose
for spiritual growth.